wanted. Not dead or alive, he's wanted, live or alive. He's wanted. Oh, dead or alive, he's wanted, dead or alive. He was pickpocketing or walking in circles, and he just went into the old man in a blue coat. My name is Alberto. What's your name, mister? Alberto. Yes, my name is Stotsovich. What's your name? Stotsovich. My name is Stotsovich. Stotsovich. Oh my. Oh, so many girls flying on it. What is his name? What is this guy doing? He's ruining the party. I don't like him ruining the party. I don't like him ruining the party. Come on, man, he's ruining the party. I don't like him ruining the party. My party is made for certain people, not your people. He's ruining the Trump party. The Trump party will fall because of you. The Trump party will be ruined because of you. I'm on it for dead or alive. What? You're doing a ship. Why is my horse standing on this freaking picture? I'm playing Red Dead. I'm playing Red Dead. Do I sound happy? Happy. My name is Red. How about can it be? I'm just doing this. I can't stop the EP. How about can I be? I'm just doing a fastest normal thing. British Russian. Russian. What? You can get a free monkey. You can get a free monkey. He has a hat. No! He looks like that guy. Yeah, it should be like me. Do you know what's it called? It's a Smith and Wesson. It's a Smith and Wesson. It's a Winchester. It's a Winchester. I'm gonna grab this gun in real life. Oh, I'm gonna go pick it up. This one. Winchester, 1960. Damn, beep.
Digital, it's been confirmed. Digital. Is digital here? Digital? Is digital here?
Yeah, so if you just yell for it.
Okay, it's no, it's confirmed. It's confirmed. It was Granny. Because you know why? The reason why he does not like me? Um, why Sonic does not like me is because I kept talking behind his back in quotation marks. Granny lied about me talking about him. No clue, probably a lie from Granny. It's because of Granny. She lied to Sonic. It's confirmed. Yeah, it lied to Sonic.
Yeah,
Facts.
aren't you from?
He just confirmed. He just confirmed that it was because I talked behind his back. Yeah. I can ask.
What? I can't believe Sonic's trying to get attention. Yeah, he would never do. He would never try to gain attention. Look at the guy, Connor. Where did I boil in 1960? Interesting. Multiple testing. Researching. Yeah, Jason's getting longer. Anytime you talk behind his back, he already knows about her. That probably not. Last year? Have you even knew him for a year? You haven't been here for a year. You've been here for 5 years. That's two. So February. Two. So February. February. Yeah, like, I would say like January. See, that's what. So it's the same date with both of them. Both of them. Because he went back in the tracks. Like, what? All Sonic is doing, bro, is trying to gain attention. He doesn't do the anime pictures anymore. He's grown up a little bit. He's still not a baby. I mean, he's still a baby, but he's not as big as a baby as he was. 'Cause he's doing a chill vibe. He might still. Does he send the anime pictures to y'all still when he gets mad? Yeah, I told you. He grew up a little bit. February, bro. February. February. Yes. 5 months. You guys knew each other for 5 months. You guys knew each other for 5 months. If you say February, yes. Technically, it's 4 months, but in like 3 days, it's gonna be like 5. So it's 5. I'm gonna say 5, which does sound outright. Because that's when Digital stopped flying with me in Z. So then he came back. I don't know what's gonna happen. One year and 4 months. When was that? February what? Valentine's Day? What year? On what year? This year? Last year. So, That doesn't make sense. It should be this year. That doesn't make no sense to me either. It should be this year. You should have only known him for about 5 months. Yeah. Mm, yeah. But like it was on standard. It'll say this on there. Mhm. Before price, but or they would have pillars too that would like line up with the sun. They would have pillars too. Yeah. Yeah. Seven inch months. Mm-hmm. The, the first the first message I have of Aries is for free of this year. For free. So yeah, like May. April. He was 100% wrong, bro. I didn't want to tell him, but the first mechanical clock was 1656. 16 something. And first mechanical clock that was like mass produced. But if you want to count 3rd century BC, what she was talking about, like, there's a water clock. Yes. But that's funny. He was here, wasn't he? Was that his first time leaving? Or did he join back? Or did I just tell that in front of his face? Me too. I was too busy studying clocks and proving them wrong. You know, you know, Cox 45. Kit Cox 45. I haven't watched a video about guns in a long time. I can't tell you what. That's been up me.
information, but not the practice at all. Okay, it's just not what you would do. It's a lever gun, obviously, and it's pretty much traditional, isn't it? It looks like most of the lever guns that you've seen in terms of how the lever works. Cocks the firearm, pull the trigger, you lever it, brings another round up, puts it in the chamber and everything. Except the one big difference is this was one of the very first ones. I've shared some of that with you from the Volcanic Arms Company, which was in existence back in 1850. Making well, actually,
You're getting yourself a test.
Smith Daniel Wilson worked on that. They lots of patents that dated back to 5, 6, 7 years ago. So it's read about it. So there was some Hunt Jennings, and then got to the Volcanic Arms Company in the mid 1850s. You had Smith and Wesson working on it. They improved it, and they needed investors in the mid 1850s. And guess who became their chief investor, top stockholder? A guy by the name of Oliver Winchester. You guessed it. And so he was a very key player there. And they were using a round in that gun that was like this, of a smaller caliber, but it was a hollowed out piece of lead with powder in it. And I think they worked out a priming system for it too, but it just wasn't very powerful. It was a small caliber, 32, 25, something like that. And it just wasn't as reliable or effective. And so the company fell on bad times, really. And so Oliver Winchester more or less took it over. Smith & Wesson left to make revolvers and focus on that, I think. And Oliver Winchester became the president and basically the owner of that company, okay, Volcanic Arms. Then he changed the name in 1857 to New Haven Arms Company. That's when he hired a fellow by the name of Benjamin Tyler Henry as plant superintendent and put him to work on devising, fixing this thing. And, they're working on cartridges and everything, improving the action of the Volcanic. And he came up with this. Okay, this is the nutshell story there. But this is what he came up with by 1860. That's why it's just called the 1860 Henry. And it fired this 44 rimfire cartridge. This is actually an original in a copper case. This is the real deal right here. And that's what it fired, the 44 Henry rimfire. We don't have any of those, like I said. So let's load it up. And it was patented in 1860, as I said, but it really wasn't out there until really, I think, 1862. And they didn't, get them produced, the machinery together, and to make them enough to get them up on the market until 1862. The military, the North, bought, I don't know, 2,000 of them almost, I think. But from my reading, only about 1,000 of those actually got into service. And most of the ones used during the Civil War were purchased with private funds by the soldiers, and there were around 10,000 of them out there, and used, especially on the northern side, the Federals. But it was a very desirable firearm to have, as you can imagine, because again, as I had pointed out before, 1860, 62. If you had a handgun in the Civil War, you were carrying probably a cap and ball pistol, just like this 1860. This is an 1860 model Army. It's very, very popular. You loaded it with percussion. It had all this business to go through to load it from the front and everything. It didn't use cartridges. There were later some conversions, even to this cartridge, but that was later in the 1860s, later 60s. So they're packing these. They're packing muzzle loaders. Most soldiers had a muzzle loader. So can you imagine how cool it would be to have this? As Colonel Mosby said, that damn Yankee rifle that you load on Sunday and fire all week. And that's what I was alluding to earlier. Because this was new. This is a new thing, to have something that you can actually rapid fire. We take it for granted. In fact, some of you might look back on it and wow, an antique, an old lever gun, what's that? Well, in the 1860s, this was like having a minigun. It was something that hold that many rounds, enclosed cartridges that were pretty much protected from the rain. Because you know what they were doing before then? They were loading from the muzzle and with powder and balls and everything. So this was high tech, really high tech. So let's bring one up. And these old toggle link systems like this one in the 1866 and the 73 and the 76, you had a toggle link system in the elevator to bring the round up, go straight in, a torpedo right into the chamber, and then you bring it up and fire it. And I think the sights are pretty close on. I've not had this long, but let's try a red flake just for kicks. There we go. A little piggy. Right, turkey.
Yeah.
Dab is up here.
I am more
So
thinking.
that maybe it goes. I get really ambitious.
Yeah.
Chicken.
Look at the refractions off the water real fast. After you're done.
Oh well.
How long are you gonna stay up for?
Trying turkey here.
Like a one?
Tender block right here close. Let's try.
Why not even? Maybe.
Actually, the side feels pretty good. I think with just a little bit of shooting, I could pick off chickens without too much trouble. I don't see it really clearly. I should probably shoot with my other eye. But hopefully you can kind of appreciate, take yourself back into history and imagine what that was like to have a lever gun that hold that many rounds, 14, 15 rounds of 44 in a cartridge. You didn't have to worry about it raining on it, and it would still work. They were black powder, of course. That's all there was in the 1860s. But, and of course, on top of everything else, is that not a gorgeous firearm? I have always admired them. It's beautiful. They really are. Now, they have some disadvantages, but I mean, there is not a firearm that I'm aware of that really is it's better looking than that. If you want to just talk about the looks of it, of course, it's very functional. Just a gorgeous firearm. It's sweet. Every time I have seen one in a movie, what are some movies you'll see these in? Silverado, if you're familiar with that, or Lonesome Dove. You'll see Henry action because it just was very, very, very popular. Now negatives. Well, that opening, like we talked about, you'd get dirt into it, of course, and hang up your feeding, your tube, and everything, and have to try to get it clean. The actual loading system, because you have this tab, coming up through there, and your hand and everything. And I understand that these would get rusty sometimes. You didn't keep them lubed and really clean and oiled. This shroud that covers the barrel there and spins. And of course, the safety issues with loading it, dropping rounds down on top of each other, big rounds, fairly powerful, with the spring slapping against it. You have that. You could consider a disadvantage. Now, some of that they weren't aware of because this was the first, right? We can talk about all that being really negatives and, wow, how crazy. Why would you invent it like that? Well, that's because we've been seeing tubular magazines all of our lives. And so this was one of the first. So they just had to figure out. Well, all they knew was to load it from the end. And you know what happened? There was a patent, it was King's patent, a loading gate that came along a little bit later. And this one doesn't have it, of course, because it's a Henry. These were just made basically from like around 1861 to 66 when the improved Henry came out. And just briefly, this is basically what they did to improve it. You got your loading gate, So you can top off the magazine anytime you want, just like all lever guns since then, right? You have your enclosed tube, so you don't have that issue of getting dirt into the magazine. And you do away with all this business at the end of the barrel and that having to swivel around, and all that is eliminated because you just put one round in at a time, and you've got pressure from the spring, and you've got your forearm here. You've got a forend that enables you to hold by that, and you don't have that tab coming down into your hand. And also, these barrels, especially with black powder, get very hot. With rapid firing them very much. So, with the forend, as we're accustomed to seeing on all lever guns, you got protection there. Okay. So those were some big innovations. Plus, you notice the tube is part of the barrel. That's all one piece. That's pretty expensive to manufacture. Well, I wouldn't want to try it with an octagonal barrel to boot. So when you can manufacture those separately, it gives you more options on the barrel and everything else. So still had the brass frame on the 66. This was basically an improved Henry. Okay. So
Yeah.
let's load him up again. It's wonderful. It's wonderful piece of history. So anyway, the basement Tyler Henry, basically came up with this. He worked night and day in 58, 59, 60, getting this thing where he wanted it. And these were Winchester, basically, right? Winchester was in charge of this company, the new Haven Arms Company. That's why this really is a Winchester. It's just the Winchester name on it. So it's Winchester's company, essentially, the new Haven Arms Company. And then when in '66, they improved it further. It came out with that one over there I was just showing you. He changed the name of the company to Winchester. Okay, so this really is a Winchester essentially. Okay, first incarnation, got the same toggle link system, and not a really strong action. Most of these, or all of these, basically are a pistol cartridge, revolver, not revolver, but lever gun. They fire like that's definitely a pistol cartridge, right? And so is a 45 Colt. And the 66 fired the same cartridge, the 44 rimfire Henry. So you really didn't have a center fire cartridge until you got to 73, with the 4440 and the 73 model, which was an iron frame, which is another story. But today we're looking at this baby, and again, for whatever negatives it had, for the times.
Yeah. What? What? Hunt me. Yeah.
present to you. Arthur Morgan here. Actually, we noticed, have noticed, that many of you are playing the new game Red Dead Redemption 2. Comments
What?
on certain videos, especially ones like the Schofield or the Colts, that many of you like that game. It's very obvious. And some of you are new to the channel. Everybody plays games these days. Not everybody, but people of all ages play the games, and that is supposed to be one of the best ones out in a long time. And I'm actually kind of excited about it. Even though I don't play video games, I have played a little bit of just enough to get a taste of it. To know that some of them are limited in these games, whether it's a World War II game, a Western game, that sort of thing. It's fascinating to see how realistic it is. I didn't realize that. I used to be one of those old fogies, I guess, to some extent, up until about 20 years ago, whenever I saw one of those games with a Garand in it. John and buddies of his were playing a little bit, and wow, that thing looks like the real thing. So anyway, we know a lot of you are playing that game, and it's developing an interest, I think, in these old guns of the West, which is great, because if you've been around here long, you know, these are probably my favorite firearms. You know, the Colt single, the clones of the Colt, the lever guns, whoever makes them, the lever guns, the little bit of shotgun, and all those things. We have, I don't know, we probably have 200 videos we've done over the last 10 years on these firearms, because I own a lot of them, and we just, so we thought, in a way, we would do this. Well, many of you have recommended. When are you going to do a Red Dead Redemption 2 video? When you going? I see that all the time. And to tell you the truth, before you even started asking about it, we had talked about it, but we didn't want look like we're pandering to people or the games or trying to get views or something silly like that, But the more and more we see the more people
let me see Miami, bro.
Not. These are my favorite guns and some of John's favorite firearms. So what we thought we'd do was bring out some of the firearms that are in the game, and I happen to have most of them. Imagine that. And John is my advisor. He plays the game some. He has it. I played a little bit at his place, and it's pretty amazing, I have to say. I'd like to get back over there and play a little more and get a feel for it. I'm not a big game player, okay? Probably won't become one. I can see if any game ever drew me in. Cool. I watch westerns all the time, and I shot these firearms a lot, and they're just some of my favorites. So anyway, what I thought we'd do, John's going to give you a little more information about some of these terms and how they relate to the game, and if they're realistic or not in the game, and differences and that sort of thing. So I can't really do that, but I know the firearms that are in it, and we're going to mention Winchester, so we're going to do a separate video on that. We're not done a Winchester 1866, and appreciate that. Shoot some appreciate that. If you're not an NRA member, because I've been since my 20s, check the link out in the descriptions and become an NRA member. Most of all, I want to welcome new people. I mean, we get over 2,000 new subscribers every day, and so there's a lot of people that come in and see something. They don't understand us yet, but you will if you watch some videos. A lot of troll comments from brand new people. It takes a while to get to know people and how they operate. And I'm a little goofy at times, and I test people's gullibility at times. I realize that. But I think that, anyway, I want to have not seen many firearms videos on YouTube at all, but you've been playing, and it is about to be more of an interest in these sorts of firearms. Let me start with this. That's a good thing, because as much as hopefully you enjoy shooting these firearms in the game, and they are very realistic, you would enjoy them in real life. Believe me, I do, and always have. So that's good news. There's no big surprise. You might be playing that game, so there's no negative surprise. Wow, they're cool in the game. I wonder how they are in real life. Probably wouldn't want to fire them. They probably kick too much, or they're not cool. They not reliable, or whatever you can imagine. No, they're reliable generally, and they are a lot of fun. So I would enjoy just introducing some of you to them. And I know everybody's not new, of course. A lot of you have fired lots of different programs, but maybe you've not fired some of these. Okay, and maybe you hate video games. You know, and that's another thing I want to point out. There's too many people, and I've been an old fud in my life about some, but there are too many people who leave comments on videos making fun of the game comments, people who mention Red Dead Redemption or some other game. And I kind of understand it because until I saw that video game with John with the Garand and everything, and wow, this is cool. I see why it's interesting for Stadia. I was a little like that. I've never been a big game player. So I guess there's a level of ignorance. I don't mean that in a negative way. We're all ignorant in certain ways. If you're 40 years old or you're 60 years old or you're 80 years old, maybe you're just a little ignorant about video games and how cool they really are. Okay? Now, again, I don't enjoy sitting and playing them a long time or anything, but you may not be aware of how realistic they are. And these firearms, how they duplicate these real firearms. And how they're bringing people into the firearms world and helping to make more shooting enthusiasts, which guess what that's good for? The Second Amendment. If you're for the Second Amendment, maybe you should lighten up on those folks that leave a comment about how they saw this gun in a video game or something. All right? People that play video games are not just 15 or 12 or 9. They're 20 and 30 and 40 and my age. Okay, so that's my little soapbox on that. So let's lighten up on the people that play video games. However people come to the firearms world, hey, more power to it. I guarantee you some of the people who have insulted someone who plays video games online, they're the very same people who bought them a 44 Magnum because they saw Dirty Harry. Or they bought them a Hawken rifle because they saw Jeremiah Johnson. So we all fall prey to that, okay? This is the 66. Why don't we just start with it? It's a Winchester 66. It is in the video game. It's a lever gun. I'm not going to go into great depth on any of these. This was kind of the second in the big chain. You had the volcanic, but you had the Henry and then this. This is basically an improved Henry rifle. Maybe I should have started with the Henry. But they put a forearm on it and a loading gate, and it's a Winchester 1866. The Henry came out in about 1860, and let me grab it real quick. The Henry came out in 1860, and that's the patent. I think it didn't really show up until a couple years later. So that was really kind of a outgrowth of the volcanic, in a full-length rifle version, and pretty interesting. Fired a 44 Henry round. It was a rimfire, and what we just loaded, I've got some 4440, and I'll show you how it loads. That's all I want to do with these. Basically, give you a real brief history of it, and just show you how it loads. And
I watched YouTube videos of this game when it first came, like the old one. I also watched them hunt animals.
let's have a different one.
But I never knew Assassin's Creed. I don't think I ever played this game. Well, I never played it. Oh, yeah. Bully? Yeah, bully. Johnny Poker? What was that I just said? Wait, what was that one? That one looked interesting. Yeah, that one looked interesting. Alright. The one that you just put on.
And fire.
Okay.
Okay? Henry was open spot. As you can see there, and we have videos on this. You can look further. A lot of you already found it.
So is it going to be 17?
The Henry video.
17, 16? So?
22, the 2
Like, does it ever going to be 17, 16?
One of the limitations of it, it would get dirt in there. That's why they wanted to fix that. The 1866 model. Once the barrel get hot, this was Black Powder. And
the barrel got hot.
it's hard to hold on to when it's hot. So then you close that up, and you got that spring there. See, that's your magazine, and there's no forearm. I always thought they were really cool looking. I mean, that's one reason you see them in a lot of the movies or video games. They're just really cool. And it's a lever gun. Benjamin Tyler Henry was very instrumental in this, and of course the New Haven
This is the latest. This is the latest you got on.
Winchester at the time, so it was kind of a Winchester.
I'm the earliest. I'm the earliest.
Okay, you'll notice this pad
That's
will come
the
down
earliest.
further down the magazine.
Yes. That's the earliest. You want to bet at no, you want to bet at like 3 o'clock yesterday, so it's it's no, it's not. Yeah, it's free. For 5 in the morning. 5. That would be like 5. Can you stop? Oh my God. I know it's annoying. Why would you get off so early? Yeah, early. You're not tired. You're not gonna get up early. No. You got up about. You went to bed at 3 and I mean, yeah. You went to bed at 3 last night and got up at 6. Yeah. 6. Was it 9?
Pretty cool. And it's a lever gun. Benjamin Tyler Henry was very instrumental in this, and of course the New Haven Arms was run or owned by Oliver Winchester at the time, so it was kind of a Winchester. But let's just take a couple shots with it, okay? And you'll notice this tab will come down further down the magazine as we shoot it. Let's just shoot a 2-liter or something. That's hot. Good for smoking. Cowboy. Is appropriate? And it holds, I don't know, 14, 15 rounds or something like that. Or a rimfire. It's a rimfire. So you'll see one of these at a gun show. I was at a Civil War show this morning, believe it or not. And I saw some, they were like $40,000, $50,000, original Henrys. You know, but they burned the rimfire. You can't get ammo for them anymore. All right? And this fire is
Shot.
chambered for a cartridge you can actually find. Some are chambered in 40 things, but this is a reproduction. Okay? Henry rifle, cool. Used in the Civil War. In fact, not in great numbers, but it was. So you'll see that probably. And then the improvement of that a few years later in '66 was the model 66. Of all things. You see, you got the four. Arm on it, so it doesn't burn your hand up. And you got a loading gauge, so we can put a couple of rounds in it. Now that's a 4440. I don't want to mix up that. This is chambered in 45. This was chambered in 44 as well, and it was rimfire. Okay, so that's the problem with these two guns. If you had an original one, you couldn't shoot it. You know, nobody really loves ammo for that. You know, rimfire, 44. Yeah, try to find that. Okay, you might find a couple of antiques. the same toggle link action. So it's essentially the same rifle with forearm and a loading gate and maybe just minor tweaks. Okay? This is a cool rifle with real good. Holy thing. Here's off, close enough, but now it's not quite excruciatingly loud. This is the target. Red Dead Redemption target. Alright. Now, again, it may not sound like me doing a video like this, but I just tickled to death that there's something going on out there in the media world, the entertainment world, that is drawing people to these firearms. Because I've been promoting them for a long time, and that game is going to promote them a lot more than I ever could. So it's just great. They're fun. There's replicas of all of them virtually, yeah. So anyway, that's 1866, and guess when it came out? Yeah, 66. The next one was 73, which I think is in the game, but I've got one of those too. All right, it was the first one actually fired center fire cartridge, and by the way, it was chambered for the 4440, this exact round. These are chambered for these rounds, but it's it's just so we can shoot them. Okay, they would be worthless if they were chambered 44 rimfire, as I said. But when you got to the 1873, that was a big year. That's when we went to the centerfire cartridge and 4440, the 1873 rifle. And it's much like this one, kind of the same action. It's got a side plate. If you see something with a side plate there, it's probably a 73 or a 76. Okay. All right. So, hey, I know what you want to see too. The Schofield. Let's look at it. Okay. Because now I did get far enough. I think when I was playing at John's, the guy Arthur was carrying a Schofield, and they're kind of an interesting firearm. And if you're not familiar with all of these Western firearms, I'll pull out my 45 here, my Colt.
45.
Both unloaded, but they are far different. These are a couple of very popular handguns of the time, and of course the Schofield breaks open. That's what is so dramatically different from the Colt and some of the others like it. Okay, so with the Schofield, you just pull that back, cock it there a little bit, and you're ready to load. See. Now, it was chambered also for a shorter cartridge, the 45. Well, the Smith & Wesson Model 3 is really what it is. The Schofield was a variation of it, but it was chambered in 44 and 45.
I never paid attention to that.
45 Colt was for shooting in it.
How do these guns doing it back?
Today,
Can't
replicas like this are chambered in 45 Colt. Again, why? Because
they do have some.
Okay. All right, now there are some 45 Schofield rounds. They're just a little shorter. All right, let's try this thing and then empty it. Again, I just want to kind of load all these, empty it for you. Wow, it really came out. We're supposed to have big pot. Now let's say you looked at it for a shotgun, maybe. Do a stop sign. Yeah, the Schofield. Then when you're ready to empty it, you pull back on that ring. Not easily, I'll just capture those, save those, reload them. Okay? So that's a little different. You pull out this screw right here, unscrew it, lift this up, and the cylinder comes off. It's pretty easy to clean, but it's a breakdown model on that big hinge. Pretty interesting. These types of revolvers, I think, came out first in about 1870, I believe, those actual cartridges, the rimfire cartridges. And then in 75, they changed the latch. Major Schofield, whoever, he came up with a different latching system for the cavalry. So with one hand, they could just pull it back and open it up. Okay? And so, it's essentially the same thing with Smith & Wesson Model 3. This is the Schofield version. And just an interesting firearm. Kind of fascinating. Okay? The Colt, you see the difference in how they load. You got a half cock on the old actions. And I'll do that again. 1, 2. Second cock. You load it. And you load one, skip one, so you just have 5 in there. Have an empty chamber under the hammer for safety. There's videos on that too. And cock it, it's going to come on an empty chamber, okay? So with this one, let's hit the cowboy again. This thing.
There's my girl.
Nice old gun. You see the difference in unloading though and reloading. See, I can't break it open. And again, this is got to go to half cock. Let's see, make sure we're half cock. There we go.
You, mister. No need for that.
So this was a little slower to unload and load, but not too bad. Had a reputation for being real solid and simple. See, so now it's empty. And some of the newer versions of these Colt lookalikes or clones, they operate a little bit differently. They've got a safety device, and you can open that up and turn the cylinder like the Ruger. So there's differences. You need to study up on that, which one you'd be interested in if you're old enough to buy one of these, that sort of thing. So that's the Colt. You see the vast difference, and all these work the same way. I brought out three just to show you again the different barrel lengths. The Colt, was so popular in the West, and in 45, the most popular caliber. I think 4440 was pretty popular, which the 73 was chambered in, as I said earlier, and then people could carry the Colt in 4440. It was actually 44. It was called at the time, Winchester centerfire, and they could carry the handgun in the same chambering. But the Colt was chambered, or it was made in three different barrel lengths. You got a 5.5. This one's 4 3/4, and that one's 7.5. So if you see a Colt single action, and then these barrel lengths.
Is that digital license?
Okay, that's a Colt single action. Very common in the West, in the Western. This is the I haven't seen that in the game. God tells me it is in there. This is a pretty cool and simple design. We'll start here. You just cock the hammer. Let's go back to the block there. Reach block. Put the rim in there. Let me get one here somewhere. Yeah. 70. Slip it in here. Close that up. It's ready to go. Now what happens? You think, well, how's that going to hold it? Well, as soon as that hammer falls out there, it locks up that block there. Okay? So it won't. I'll lift the hammer right there. See, I can't move that. It's really a solid gun. So this is 4570. In fact, I just traded for this today at the Civil War show. Really good to see it. Okay? I'm going to get too dark to sit there. See if I can knock it on. Cock the hammer back, and that releases that. There you go.
William
Close
Walker.
up. You're ready to go. Pretty cool, huh? And the other single shot rifle that I think is in the game is the old Springfield trapdoor. A lot of these were converted from the old muzzle, but this one was not. 1873. That's what we went to. The military did. The Springfield trapdoor single shot. And it was a 45-7. And they grabbed that other pack. Here's how you load it. Get the thing in there. Close it up.
They really touch.
And you just shoot. Yeah, cool part is how it unlocks. Let's cock it back. Woo! Sit down there. That's the Springfield trapdoor. That's pretty neat, huh? Looks like we're going to get raised on it. So we might cover up here and come back and talk to you in a minute. How's that? Taking the 45 back, we had a rainstorm for about 20, 30 minutes. And I changed my hat. I'm not going to change my shirt. Hey, in the water will show you what. So we were about to get a shot. I think I just fired the 45-70 single shots the other day. I was telling you about the shot hat. And 73, 45-70 round, that big old round, that's when that came about. The military used that about 1890. Then he went to the Krag. I'll show you in a second. Well, let's show you now. The Krag was where smokeless round. So this is black powder cartridges. And the Krag Jorgensen is an interesting firearm. Loads in a very interesting way. I'll bring it over here. We still got some good ammo. I tell you what, we never let rain stop. Big dog cleaned up and they dry off. We didn't want to take 35. Dry it off. Yeah, dry it pretty well. And yeah, this was 1899. And so as I understand the game, I think it was set in 1899. This is, I guess, the most modern firearm Fascinating with the crag. It's just an interesting, different sort of, it's very different. Most others. Take the shells in here. So, that's fine. When you're ready to go, shoot it. Safety there. City week on your feet. Since it's AR 500. What do we have here? There's a 2-liter. All the pots are wet, so they won't smoke. That's carbon. And it kicks in. They kick a little bit, but don't let people scare you.
Sometimes
Kick at all. They're heavy guns. They shoot a light cartridge. Cartridge, basically. The 30 caliber has a little bit of fun.
Well, hello there.
45
Pleasant morning.
And then the 12 inch. And then the understanding that the other barrels 97. Let's shoot them. These are all fun. We have lots of these. It's fun things. We bring these out every now and then. And they're sort of
Morning,
very
friend.
simple. See them and they open it up and you're in the fire. A few triggers like the old ones. That right there is usually the front trigger. Left barrel is the rear trigger. And just cock them both and shoot them both. I'll shoot that pot anyway. Well, that target didn't do so well in the storm there, did it? Let's shoot it again. A little more. There's nothing like a good old stagecoach. These are fun. I got a few of those. See, probably. Like I said.
Good morning.
And I've never played a video game a day in my life. This is the 1897, the pump. And guess when it came out? Yeah, 1897. And very popular. It was used
Good morning to you.
Shotgun, hunting shotgun. Very comes out the back. All 12 kind of the rest of that receiver. But it's a little quirky. I find them a little quirky.
Morning.
So yeah, they're very interesting and they're very historical. But I would not want to rely on them. I just find them kind of quirky. Okay, I'm gonna shoot a couple times so see if I can do that. That's what I'm gonna do. Show you how these load.
Morning,
And,
partner. All right.
Let's put the shell in the right way. It's a pump. It holds. I don't know how many does this thing hold? Holds about 5 or 6. Okay, do I not have the bolt closed? I'll tell you, like I said, they're kind of quirky. One in the chamber. And I'm going to put one up in here. There we go. All right. In cowboy action shooting, these are really popular. I mean, you have to load them just like I did.
Not done causing trouble around here?
So the double barrel of these, they compete kind of on an even keel. Level playing field.
You got the wrong fella.
Oh, let's get that
promise
pot. That disappeared. He's the cowboy. Yeah, no, she's the cowboy. See, that just hit my phone when I caught that. It's all good. It's just a little quirky, but a really neat firearm. Quite a piece of history. 1897. Okay? So they both kick the 12 gauge. Depends on what kind of ammo. One advantage is with these, you can shoot any sort of 12 gauge ammo, really light, want to, or a little warmer. Of course, these are old. You don't want to shoot anything too hot. Okay. And as I said, the Krag, I guess, is the latest firearm in Red Dead Redemption 2, 1899. This would be an older one. John tells me there's something like this in there, but this is not a cartridge fine. This is the howdah pistol that you may have seen during the video too. With that, it's a percussion, but it looks like something that's in that thing. So interesting firearm, really cool. And I think I've shot everything. I've shown you the differences, and I'm going to go back through them. The breakdown of the Schofield is rather unique. You know, when you compare it with the Colt and a lot of other handguns.
You done enough harm here.
And the other guns.
Me? Really?
66.
I don't know who you think I am, but
Back in the 1860s.
no, sir.
And they're single
Over here,
shots.
feller.
Very, very popular.
Hey,
this
what
gun,
do you want here?
in fact, this very gun, this was made, this specific gun in the around 18, it's hard to get the exact dates on these, but based on the range and the serial number, it's around 1880. Somewhere between 1879 and 1882 or 3, right in there. So this may have actually been used to hunt buffalo. This Remington 45-7 gun was actually not a reproduction. Okay, so those are just kind of a quick look at them, and again, welcome you guys that gals,
Morning,
you know,
sir.
from the game, if that's where you're coming from or not. Okay, and we'll have a little more to say about that maybe. Now, right now, I want to let John kind of give you some specifics on a couple of these firearms because he actually plays the game. I played a little bit with him, but just briefly. Probably will some more in the future because it is kind of interesting. But we'll let John fill you in on a couple of things right now. Hey, John Haydock here. Really quickly, I want to give you guys kind of a little bit more overview in depth of that as it relates to the actual game itself. I'm going to be really quick. I'm not going to mention every detail, everything that's wrong with every gun in the game. Maybe I'll do that in some other videos. Because I'm still playing the game. I haven't even played through the whole story yet. And I haven't unlocked all of the weapons. And we'll do that some other time. So we'll give you a quick overview. But it's a great game. I'm really excited about it. The first Red Dead Redemption brought a lot of new people to Westerns. Really exciting thing. This game is even more successful, more popular than that was. It's the second largest entertainment release of all time. First largest being Grand Theft Auto 5. So it's a big deal. Westerns have not been this mainstream since the days of Gunsmoke. Back in the old Western days. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I'm excited about it. Okay, so the 1866 game is referred to as the Lancaster rifle. Now, they made up some of these names. So I want to kind of point that out. This is the Lancaster rifle. They call it. It is, in fact, 1866, which had this brass receiver like the Henry Lee. Brass looking. It was kind of slightly composite than exactly brass, but basically brass receiver.
How you do?
It's kind of a Henry rifle.
Nothing with bad news.
They've got like a big
That's too bad then.
That's entirely accurate, historical wise. That was something that kind of jumped out at me as a little weird. It's called like the Litchfield rifle, something like that. They changed the name of those two for some reason. I don't know where those names come from. Something that I'm aware of historically.
Hey there.
And then the folks in
Hey,
black,
we're watching you. Don't be starting.
that one shows you here, refers to the cattleman. What's interesting about that is an Italian group they make, it's an Italian company that makes Western gun reproductions. Theirs is called the cattleman. So I'm thinking maybe it came from that. But they refer to it as the cattleman game. And one thing that jumps out at me about the Colt game, or the cattleman, is that the cylinder and the recoil shield, it seems there's something off about it. It just seems too big. All right, like this area right here in relationship to the grip, it just seems too big. I think they got the proportion a bit off on that. It almost looks like, instead of being chambered at 45, it's chambered at like some kind of 50 caliber, like a bigger caliber or something like that. So that looks a little bit off. I want to point out something about the double barrel. A lot of these have kind of a name that sort of fits. They didn't give it like any sort of weird name. Like I think they just call this a pump action shotgun. It's a double barrel, something like that. They call this the Springfield rifle, and this I think is just called the bolt action. So they're pretty generic on some of the Smithfield side for some reason to give them an actual different name. So the double barrel, a couple of things jumped out at me. First of all, I noticed that they have a tank safety on it. This right here is the tank, and tank safety basically is just like a little toggle. You can put it on safe essentially so it won't fire. And it's possible that a gun like this could have had something like that pre-1899, but very unlikely, and I've never seen one. So I'm guessing maybe they just saw a modern double-barrel shotgun and saw one on it and added it. So that seems a little bit off to me. And also here the lever for to open the to break it down. It sticks out kind of like raised, from the tang when normally they would be like right up against it, and that doesn't seem right. I've never seen one like that before. It seems like that would break off or something like that. So little details, I think they kind of maybe screwed up on that one, but overwhelmingly, I've been very impressed by how accurate these things are. I mean, even on the reloading action, you go into first-person mode on the game, you look at it closely, you even see the elevator coming up. You have to do another action to actually lever it. You pull the trigger to fire in the game on the controller, and then you push it again. It goes out. You release it, and it comes back. I mean, it's very, very spot on. Now, you might notice this gun just appeared magically on the table. We actually forgot to get it on the list. I talked about it before, but we forgot to get it on the list right when we did this. And so we ran inside and grabbed it. I thought of it while I was filming. But this is the Browning 85 great shotgun. It's a little bit of a stretch, I think, to put this in that game. Considering the setting is 1899, not impossible if you look up some history on it, but a bit of a stretch. But it is in there. In fact, I haven't unlocked it yet, so I can't really tell you how it operates in the game.
Sorry there.
And Dad mentioned this earlier. This is a Howdah pistol. It's a percussion, but notice there is a regular shotgun cartridge version of this, something like this. In the game that's very, very similar. But yeah, that's just kind of a quick. I want to give you a quick overview, and it's a neat game. I've been really enjoying playing it, and I'm excited about more people being introduced into Western guns and just the culture around these. It's the first time that I would consider guns got good, and as far as the organization, it's a really, really neat time in American history, interesting time, fascinating time in weapons history, and the evolution of weapons. It's a very, very interesting time. Lots of cool guns. I'm going to hand it back to Dad, and appreciate you guys, for hanging with us and checking this video out. And I'll see you guys around later.
Thanks, John. John has more information about the actual game, obviously, than I do. So, just a couple of last points. Some of these firearms are new reproduction, some are not. I'll point those out. And also, Spencer is the rifle. His name I learned. Spencer rifle, which we've done a video or two on that.
Hey, what the hell? I'm gonna end you.
Reproduction of it.
Your days are over, you son of a bitch!
How they operate.
Damn it, old brain!
And just again, this is reproduction. This is reproduction of the firearm, the Schofield. Him originally firing like a cartridge. Okay, it goes back into